Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, grocery shopping. It's that weekly thing, right? Pretty much everyone does it, but let's be honest, for most of us, it's kind of a blur. Bright lights, wonky trolley wheels, trying not to forget the milk again. So our mission today, we want to turn that chore into, well, a multi-level masterclass. We're going to help you move from just sort of surviving the shop to becoming a really critical analyst, looking at the economics, the psychology, even the hidden architecture behind it all.
It really is a whole universe, isn't it? And it's basically built around getting the most time and, let's face it, the most money out of you. And I think the first step to becoming more conscious about it all is just knowing the language, understanding the framework they use.
Right. So let's start at the very beginning, preparation. Before you even step foot in the store, the absolute most powerful tool you have, it's your shopping list. Sounds boring, maybe. Mundane. But honestly, it's strategically massive.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just a memory jogger, making sure you actually bring home the bread or the milk this time. That list, it's like a financial shield. Sticking to it genuinely saves you money because it stops you making those spur-of-the-moment impulse buys. And the store is literally designed to make you do that.
Speaking of designs, once you get there, you need something to carry your stuff. Quick trip, just grabbing a few things. You pick up a shopping basket.
Yeah, the little handheld one. But for the big weekly shop, the main event, you need the one with wheels. That's the shopping trolley if you're in the UK or using British English.
Or the shopping cart in the US.
Right. Getting those basics down just smooths the whole process out, makes it less stressful.
Okay, layout. We all know big supermarkets have sections, but let's try and see this like the store designer sees it.
Good idea. So think about what you usually see first. Often it's that beautiful, colorful display in the fruit and vegetable section right near the entrance.
And sometimes you get that amazing smell, that warm smell from the bakery.
Exactly. And that's not by chance. Those colors, the fresh look, the smell of bread, it's all deliberate. It creates a sensory welcome mat. Retail designers actually call this bit the decompression zone. The aim is to put you in a good mood, make you feel relaxed.
Which makes you more likely to spend more later on.
Precisely. It's subtle psychology right from the start.
Okay, so we wander through the colder bits. The dairy section for milk, cheese, yogurt. Then there's the meat section, maybe a fish section. The big frozen food section with all the freezers. But, okay, what happens when you're, stuck? Middle of an aisle, can't find that specific fancy salt you wanted. You're lost.
Right. That's when you need to talk to someone. You look for a store employee or a shop assistant, but how you approach them is important. You don't want to, tap them on the shoulder or yell across the aisle.
No, definitely not. Always start polite. Excuse me. Simple as that. Then what?
Then you use one of the golden phrases. You could be direct. Excuse me, where can I find the milk? Or maybe a bit softer. Excuse me, I'm looking for the rice. And they'll usually point you to the right section and tell you the aisle number. That's the long path between the shelves you need.
Got it. Okay, we've navigated the maze, trolley's full. Now for the big finale pang. The whole area is the checkout. The person working the till is the cashier.
Yep. And you put your items onto the conveyor belt. And please, remember the little plastic stick, the divider?
The divider. Essential etiquette to keep your shopping separate from the next person's.
It really is. Then the cashier scans the barcode on each item.
Okay, payment time, you've got options, cash or card. If you're using a card, credit or debit, it goes into the card reader. Then you type in your PIN.
And this is super important always. Always cover the keypad when you enter that PIN, your personal identification number. It's just basic security sense. Of course, for smaller amounts these days, you might just tap your card for contactless payment. Quick and easy.
Right. Transaction's done. You move along to the packing area. And remember, try to bring your own reusable bags. Saves a bit of plastic, saves you paying for carrier bags too.
Definitely. And the last thing you get, the receipt. That little slip of paper is your proof of purchase. It might seem like a hassle, but just give it a quick scan. Make sure nothing's been scanned twice or you haven't been charged for something you didn't buy. Errors do happen.
Okay, phew. We survived the shop. But surviving isn't the goal here, is it? We want mastery. So let's level up. Let's talk about being the confident consumer. The shopper who's in control, sticking to their budget, making smart choices.
And a big part of that is being a bit skeptical about deals. You see signs everywhere, don't you? Special offer. It might be a price cut for a week, or those buy one, get one free deals, or maybe multi-buy offers like 3 for 2.
But here's the catch, right? A deal is only a good deal if you're actually going to use all of that product before it goes off, before the expiration date. What you're aiming for is value for money. That perfect sweet spot between quality and price, not just the cheapest thing on the shelf.
And finding that value means you need to get good at reading labels. Seriously good. First off, the use by date or expiration date, that's just basic food safety. Check it.
Then you've got the ingredients list. This is so important. They list ingredients by quantity, largest first. So if you're trying to cut down on sugar, and sugar's like the second ingredient, alarm bells should ring. You might want to pick something else.
Exactly. And the third thing, the nutrition information. That little table or box showing energy, fat, sugar, salt, all that. Use it. Compare products. Choosing between two cereals. Look at the sugar content per serving. Pick the lower one. That's an informed, confident choice.
Okay, quick fire round, advanced situations. You need something, maybe a specific brand of pasta, but the shelf is empty, it's sold out. What do you do?
You need to ask politely if there's any more stock, but use a soft approach. Something like, "Excuse me, I was just wondering if you might have any more in the back." That just wondering and might makes it sound much less demanding.
Good tip. What about the special counters, like the deli counter or the butcher?
There, you need to be specific, especially with quantity. Use grams or pounds, depending where you are. "Can I have 200 grams of that cheddar cheese, please?" And they might ask you how you want it prepared, especially at the deli. Would you like it sliced? Be ready for that.
Last one. Busy aisles. Someone's blocking the way with their trolley.
Yeah.
How do you get past without being rude?
Keep it simple and polite. "Excuse me, could I just get past?" That usually does the trick. Being confident also means being considerate of others, right?
Absolutely. It's a shared space. Okay.
Nice.
We've got the actions down. Finding things, paying, even tricky interactions. Now, let's pull back the curtain. See the stagecraft. This is where we become the articulate analyst. We need to talk about choice architecture, how the whole store is designed.
Yeah, this is fascinating because absolutely nothing you see is accidental. It's all meticulously planned to influence how you shop and what you buy.
Okay, let's go back to those essentials. Milk, bread. Why are they always at the very back of the store? Every single time.
It's pure strategy. They force you to walk the entire length of the supermarket to get those basic items. And by doing that, they maximize your dwell time, how long you spend in the store. And they maximize your exposure to hundreds, maybe thousands of other items, all tempting you, encouraging those profitable impulse buys.
Sneaky. And what about where specific things are put on the shelves? Some are easier to reach than others.
That's right. The products placed right at eye level. Those are usually the most profitable ones for the store. Maybe their own brand, or brands that have paid extra for that prime position. The cheaper options, often on the top shelf or way down near the floor. You have to look for them. And don't forget the ends of the aisles, the end caps.
Right, that's like prime real estate in supermarket terms, isn't it?
Totally. Companies pay a lot for those spots because they know virtually everyone walking down that aisle is going to see their product or promotion displayed there. And then there's the final psychological masterstroke. The checkout area.
Oh, the gauntlet of gum, chocolate bars, magazines, little toys.
Exactly. Think about how you feel by the time you get there. You're probably tired, maybe a bit stressed. Your decision-making energy is low. Those small, high-profit, often unhealthy items are placed there precisely because your willpower is at its weakest. You're much more likely to just grab one without thinking.
Wow. Understanding the psychology of the layout, it's key to sticking to your list and your budget. But the persuasion doesn't stop there, does it? It's on the packaging, too. We need to be critical about the language they use.
Let's take two really common words, natural versus organic. Natural sounds great, healthy even, but what does it actually legally mean?
Often, not a whole lot.
Pretty much. The term natural is often poorly regulated. A company might call something natural if its original source was natural, even if it's heavily processed now. Think about high fructose corn syrup. It comes from corn, which is natural, but the end product, highly processed. It's vague, potentially misleading.
But certified organic, that's different. That carries weight.
It really does. Certified organic is a regulated term. It means the product meets specific, legally defined agricultural standards. Things like being grown without most synthetic pesticides or fertilizers. For meat or dairy, it usually means no growth hormones or routine antibiotics. Understanding that regulatory difference is crucial.
We also need to be really careful about health claims, don't we? Like low fat or light products. We kind of automatically think they're healthier.
Yeah, it's a classic switcheroo. When they take fat out to make something low fat, they often lose flavor and texture. So how do they compensate? Very often by adding loads more sugar or salt. Always, Always flip the package over, check that nutrition table, see what you're actually trading for that lower fat content. It might not be a healthier choice at all.
Okay, let's connect this to the really big picture now, the ethics. What's in your basket has ripples way beyond your kitchen. Environmental costs, for instance.
Yeah, this brings us to things like food miles. That's the distance your food has traveled to get to the store. Food that's traveled a long way, especially if it's been flown in, has a much bigger carbon footprint. Now, buying local produce seems like the obvious answer, right?
Usually, yeah.
But it can be more complex. Think about buying local tomatoes in the middle of winter in a cold climate. They were probably grown in a heated greenhouse. The energy needed to heat that greenhouse might actually give them a higher carbon footprint than tomatoes grown naturally in a warmer country and shipped efficiently. It's nuanced.
Okay, that's complicated. What about social justice? We often see fair trade labels, especially on coffee, chocolate, bananas. What's that guarantee?
Fair trade certification aims to ensure that the farmers and workers, usually in developing countries, receive a fair, stable price for their products. It helps protect them from exploitation and the volatility of the market. Yes, that fair trade chocolate bar might cost a little more. But if you're looking through that analyst lens we talked about, you might see that extra cost as a worthwhile investment in ethical sourcing.
And finally, the huge issue of waste. There's been a big consumer backlash against excessive plastic packaging, hasn't there?
Yeah.
More demand for sustainable alternatives, zero waste options.
Definitely. And we also need to talk about food waste. Supermarkets get criticized, rightly, for having really high cosmetic standards, rejecting perfectly good fruit and veg just because it looks a bit weird. But we have to admit, consumers play a huge part too. We often buy way more than we need, and good food ends up spoiling in our own fridges.
Wow. Okay. This really has been a journey. We started just trying to find the salt and pay without hassle, and we've ended up dissecting store layouts, decoding marketing tricks, weighing global ethics, grocery shopping. It's definitely not mundane when you look at it this way.
Absolutely. Being able to articulate why you're buying something, not just what you're buying, maybe discussing the choice architecture you noticed or pointing out the hidden sugar in that healthy snack, that is what marks you out as a truly sophisticated, intentional consumer.
So wrapping up, what does this all mean looking forward? We mentioned the source material talking about a move towards a circular economy, eliminating waste, reusing resources constantly. If that's the real goal, radical efficiency, zero waste. How does that square with the current supermarket model? A model built on making us linger, wander those aisles, maximizing our dwell time specifically to sell us stuff we probably don't need. How might that need for efficiency fundamentally change the physical supermarket as we know it? Something to think about next time you find yourself standing by the milk at the very back of the store.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are not just going shopping. We're actually stepping inside one of the most carefully designed psychological spaces out there.
Yeah, the supermarket. It sounds mundane, but really it's fascinating. We're here to crack the code.
Exactly. For you listening, we've looked at how something as simple as grabbing groceries is, well, it's basically this complex dance between your own choices and some pretty sophisticated retail engineering.
We want to help you go beyond just being a shopper. The goal is to become, let's say, a super smart shopper, someone who can kind of read the layout like a psychological map.
We're peeling back the curtain on the hidden psychology, the stuff that guides where you walk, how you feel, and ultimately what you spend.
And our mission for this deep dive is to arm you with the 4 main strategies supermarkets use. Understanding these is, well, it's real power, isn't it?
Definitely.
It helps you make conscious choices, save some money, maybe make healthier decisions too. It's about taking back control.
Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. You grab your cart, you walk through those automatic doors. What's the very first thing you experience?
It's that sensory hit, right?
Totally. It's that wall of beautiful, bright produce, all those reds, greens, yellows. And often, there's that amazing smell, maybe from a bakery nearby.
Exactly. And that whole experience, that strategy number 1, the feeling of freshness, it's not an accident. It's very intentional. It's behavioral priming.
Priming, how so?
Well, they deliberately put those gorgeous, fresh-smelling, colorful items right at the front. It's designed to put you, the shopper, in a positive mood almost immediately.
I have to admit, I always feel kind of virtuous when I start by loading up on bright fruits and veggies, like I'm doing something good.
That's precisely the effect.
Yeah.
And research shows that when you're feeling positive, happy, or maybe a bit optimistic about your shopping, you actually stop paying such close attention to price.
Real?
Yeah, that initial positive feeling of the quality you see right at the entrance, it creates something called a halo effect.
A halo effect, like for the whole store.
Pretty much. Your brain thinks, wow, this place looks great, high quality, and so you subconsciously assume everything else in the store is probably decent value too.
Huh, okay.
So that good mood makes you less sensitive to prices later on. It kind of gets you ready to spend more before you even get near the cookies or chips. It's the complete opposite of walking into, say, a dingy store where your first instinct is to hunt for bargains.
Okay, so they've hooked us with happiness, but eventually we do need the basics. You know, the milk, the eggs, the bread. But they're never near that lovely entrance, are they?
Almost never. And that leads us straight into strategy number 2, the journey to the essentials. Those staple items, the things almost everyone buys, they're almost always tucked away at the very back or in a far corner.
Right. They make you walk the entire length of the store past absolutely everything else. What's the logic there? It seems deliberately, well, inconvenient.
It is deliberate, and it's all about one key metric: dwell time. Yeah, simply the amount of time you spend inside the store. Since pretty much every customer needs milk or bread or eggs, putting them at the furthest point guarantees you have to walk through a maze of other products.
Okay, yeah, I've done that. Go in for just milk, and suddenly I'm navigating past, I don't know, special offers on snacks, the soda aisle, maybe end caps with new products.
Exactly. That path, that sort of gauntlet you have to run, it's lined with products chosen specifically because they have high impulse buy potential and, crucially, high profit margins. They're not just hoping you'll see them, they're making sure you do. Think about it. If you're in the store for 15 minutes instead of just 5 to grab milk, your chances of throwing extra unplanned items into your cart, they shoot way up.
It turns a quick errand into browsing time.
Which is exactly what the store wants.
Wow.
More browsing equals more potential sales.
So the defense here is stick to the list. Like, laser focus and march purposefully to the back.
That's a big part of it. Minimize that dwell time if you can. But okay, even when you get to the right aisle for something on your list, the psychology doesn't stop. Let's talk about the shelves themselves. This is where it gets really subtle.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is strategy number 3, and it kind of has 2 parts. First up, product placement. Basically, the shelf is like real estate, and companies pay big money, sometimes called slotting fees, for the best spots.
And the best spot is?
Right at eye level. Look straight ahead when you're in an aisle. What do you typically see?
The big brands, the stuff I recognize, usually the more expensive options, I guess.
Exactly. That's the bullseye zone, or the sweet spot. It's prime real estate, because manufacturers know that shoppers, especially if they're in a hurry or maybe a bit tired, tend to take the path of least resistance.
Meaning they grab what's easiest to see and reach?
Precisely. The store and the brands make it incredibly simple for you to choose the item that brings them the most profit.
So, if I want the cheaper option, the store brand, or generic.
Now you have to work for it. Those are usually banished to the top shelf, meaning you have to look up and reach, or the bottom shelf where you have to bend down.
That little bit of extra effort.
It's a subtle barrier, but it works. So the really practical tip here for being a smart shopper is consciously change your eye level. Don't just scan horizontally. Make yourself look up, look down. That's often where the better deals are hiding.
Just physically looking up and down can save money. Wow. Okay, what's the second part of this strategy?
It's about the words on the packaging. This is decoding the language of packaging. We get bombarded with appealing words, right? Natural, artisanal, farm fresh.
Yeah, they sound great, healthy, wholesome.
They're meant to evoke those feelings. But we need to be critical readers and understand the difference between, say, a marketing buzzword designed purely to create an emotion and a claim that's actually regulated and verifiable.
Let's take natural. That one's everywhere. What does it actually mean?
Well, that's the thing. Natural is incredibly powerful, but in many places, it's very loosely defined, if at all, legally speaking, on food labels.
So it doesn't mean much officially.
Often, not really.
Yeah.
It mainly creates a feeling, simplicity, maybe a bit of nostalgia for older ways of farming. It feels good, but it's not a guarantee of health or specific practices.
So if I see like a sugary drink labeled all natural,
you should definitely be skeptical.
Yeah.
I mean, think about high fructose corn syrup. It comes from corn, which is a plant. So technically a product loaded with it might, in some cases, legally use the word natural in its ingredients list.
Huh. Okay, so natural is more about the vibe than the facts.
That's a good way to put it. It sells a feeling. Now, compare that to a word like organic.
Okay, how is organic different?
Organic is usually the opposite situation. It's typically a strictly regulated term. For a product to carry an official organic label, it has to meet very specific government standards.
Stands about what?
Things like pesticide use, types of fertilizers, animal welfare, farming practices. There are actual rules and verification processes. So when you see that organic seal, you know it's met certain defined criteria. It's a factual claim.
Got it. So natural feeling, maybe marketing. Organic, regulated fact. That's a really useful distinction.
Knowing that difference helps you make choices based on what actually matters to you, rather than just, pretty packaging and nice-sounding words.
Right. Okay, so we've navigated the entrance, survived the long trek to the back for milk, decoded the shelf heights and the labels. Now we get to the final hurdle, the checkout line.
Ah, yes. The final frontier. Strategy number 4, the impulse zone. That area right by the cashier. It might be the most profitable few square feet in the entire store.
And you always see the same kinds of things there. Candy, gum, magazines, maybe little toys, batteries. Why is that spot so effective, even when you've been disciplined the whole trip?
It's all about the psychological context. Think about your state of mind by the time you get there. You've probably spent, 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes walking, comparing, deciding.
Yeah, making tons of little decisions. Which yogurt? Is this brand okay? Do I need this?
Exactly. Psychologists have a term for this, ego depletion, or decision fatigue. Basically, your willpower, your ability to make careful, rational decisions, it's like a muscle. And by the end of the shopping trip, it's tired. It's depleted.
So we're literally worn out from making choices, and probably bored waiting in line too.
Precisely. Your mental energy is low, your self-control is weakened, and the store knows this. They capitalize on that fatigue.
How? With those specific items?
Yes. The items there are usually small, relatively cheap and tempting. A chocolate bar, a pack of gum. It feels like a small reward, right, after all that hard work shopping.
Yeah, it feels almost justifiable. Like, I deserve this.
It's an easy, low-guilt impulse buy. It's often under $5. But here's the thing. Multiply that small purchase by thousands of tired, depleted shoppers every single day.
And it adds up to massive profits for the store.
Huge profits from items people almost certainly didn't intend to buy when they walked in.
So the defense here is just awareness, knowing you're vulnerable at that point.
Awareness is your best shield, absolutely. If you understand why those tempting items are placed right there specifically to exploit your decision fatigue, you're much better equipped to consciously resist them. You can kind of mentally prepare for that final test.
Wow. Okay. So pulling this all together, it really changes how you see a simple trip to the grocery store. We've basically mapped out the supermarket's psychological game plan.
And now you, the listener, have these 4 core strategies in your toolkit to take back some control. Let's quickly recap them.
Okay.
1, recognize the freshness halo. Enjoy those nice displays at the entrance, but know they're designed to make you feel good and maybe spend more. Stick to your plan.
2, master the journey. Know the essentials are at the back, so be prepared for that long walk. Minimize your dwell time if you can, and resist those tempting aisles along the way. Stick to that list.
3, shelf awareness. Remember to physically look up and look down. Don't just grab what's at eye level. That's usually the pricey stuff. And decode the packaging. Know the difference between marketing like natural and regulated facts like organic.
And 4, guard against ego depletion. Brace yourself for the impulse zone at checkout. Know your willpower is low there, and consciously decide whether you really need that last-minute treat.
Exactly. It transforms shopping from just, filling a cart into understanding the hidden psychology at play.
It really does empower you in a daily activity. We've taken this information and hopefully turned it into something really practical. You're now equipped to understand that hidden language.
And just to leave you with something to chew on, we talked about strategy 2, right? Forcing you on that long journey for essentials to maximize dwell time and product exposure.
Yeah, making you walk past everything.
So think about space and necessity. If the goal is forced viewing along that required path to, say, the milk, what's a bulky, non-essential, but frequently needed type of item that takes up significant guaranteed shelf space right in the middle of those main aisles? It's not an impulse buy like candy at the checkout.
Something big takes up space, you have to walk past it.
And it's often priced at a premium because the store knows you absolutely have to see it on your journey to the back wall. Its viewing is inescapable. Think about what categories fit that description. It shows how pricing relates to forced visibility, not just impulse buys.
That's a great thought to mull over next time you're pushing that cart down the main drag towards the dairy case. Thank you for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and happy smart shopping. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a really close look at something we all do, maybe without much thought, grocery shopping.
Right.
But this isn't just about saving a few pennies. We're diving into this idea of a 30-day mindful shopping manifesto. It's designed to, well, really change your relationship with food, your money, and maybe even the planet.
It's such an important topic because, the sources we looked at really nail that starting point for so many of us, that feeling of just going through the motions.
Autopilot.
Exactly. Autopilot. You get home, you're tired, shove the groceries away, and then what happens? A week later, the fridge is still full, you bought too much stuff, and you're chucking out, slimy lettuce and tons of plastic.
Ugh, yes. That cycle of waste and, honestly, guilt.
That constant guilt.
Definitely. So the mission here in this deep dive is to give you 5 really concrete rules to break out of that. And, importantly, for you listening, the specific English vocabulary you need to talk about this kind of intentional approach.
Moving from just being a consumer to being like an active participant.
Exactly. Empowered. So, shall we dig into the first couple of rules? They seem to be about getting prepared and saving money right off the bat.
Let's do it. They set the foundation.
Okay, rule number 1. This feels like the absolute bedrock, the prepared shopper. And the goal here is pretty ambitious. Basically, eliminate food waste. Completely or almost completely.
Which is huge, right? Food waste is a massive problem, environmentally and financially.
For sure.
And this rule says preparation is key, but it's way more than just scribbling a list on the back of an envelope.
Right.
The core idea and the key term here is meal prepping.
Ah, meal prepping. Okay.
Yeah, it means actually sitting down, maybe Sunday evening, whatever works, and planning out all your meals, breakfast, lunches, dinners for the whole week before you even think about writing that shopping list.
Okay, I can see how that works. It sounds like a bit of effort up front, though.
It is, yeah, a little bit. But the sources really stress the psychological win. You invest maybe, 30 minutes? And you remove that daily mental load. No more, what's for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
You've already decided. You walk into the supermarket with a precise mission.
Okay, so you're not just wandering the aisles, grabbing things that look good. You know you need ingredients for, say, 4 specific meals.
Exactly. It totally changes the dynamic. If your plan only calls for 3 carrots, you just buy 3 carrots, not the whole bag.
Right. It stops the impulse buys, or at least some of them.
It's the best defense against them.
And speaking of saving money and store tactics, rule number 2 sounds interesting. The Peripheral Vision Challenge. Goal here. Save cash without buying, rubbish.
Yeah, this tackles supermarket psychology directly. We all know they put the most expensive stuff right at eye level, don't they?
The prime real estate.
Totally. So this rule makes it a game. You have to consciously use your peripheral vision, look up, look down, scan the top and bottom shelves.
Ah, okay. Because that's where they hide the bargains.
That's where you find the store brand or generic products. And knowing those terms, store brand, generic, is crucial if you're watching your budget.
Because the sources say they're usually much cheaper, right?
Oh, yeah. Typically 30, sometimes even 40% cheaper than the big name brands.
Wow. But okay, the big question, are they actually any good? Do you lose out on quality?
That's the common worry, isn't it? But the sources address this. They point out that for lots of basic things like flour, sugar, tinned tomatoes, paper towels, that sort of stuff.
Staples, yeah.
Exactly, staples. The generic version is often made in the exact same factory, using the same ingredients. You're just not paying for the fancy label and the advertising.
So you're paying for the brand's marketing budget, essentially, not a better product.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a really key insight.
Okay, so if you can save, say, 30% on half your basics just by looking down, that frees up some cash.
Definitely. And that financial breathing room lets you start thinking a bit wider, moving from just your own wallet to the bigger environmental picture.
Right, becoming more of a sort of global citizen in the supermarket aisle.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads us neatly into the next rule.
Rule number 3, this feels very current. Embrace the bulk section. This is all about tackling packaging waste, right? The endless plastic films and boxes.
Absolutely. This rule is right at the heart of the zero waste movement. The idea is simple. Bring your own reusable containers, jars, bags, whatever you have.
Your own containers and produce bags for loose fruit and veg.
Exactly. And you use them at the bulk bins,
Yeah.
for things like rice, pasta, nuts, dried fruit, flour.
Okay, I get the concept, but let's be honest, that feels like a hurdle. Remembering the containers, dealing with the checkout, is it practical?
It can feel a bit fiddly at
Yeah.
first, yeah. The manifesto suggests making it a habit. Know your store system for tare weight.
Tare weight.
Yeah, T-A-R-E. That's the weight of your empty container. They weigh it first, or you tell them the weight, so they can subtract it at the till. You only pay for the food. But the huge advantage is you buy exactly the amount you need. No more half-used bags of almonds going stale in the cupboard.
That makes sense. Less food waste again, too, indirectly.
Exactly.
So if we're cutting down packaging waste, the next logical step is thinking about transport waste, the journey the food takes.
Precisely. Which brings us to rule number 4, a really important one. Think in food miles. This asks you to consider the geography of your plate.
Food miles. Okay, define that for us.
It's basically the distance your food travels from where it was grown or made to, well, your kitchen.
Right, so like green beans flown in from Kenya in the middle of winter.
Exactly. They have incredibly high food miles. Think of the jet fuel, the refrigeration, the handling.
Which means a massive carbon footprint. Right, it's not just the travel itself, it's everything needed to keep it fresh over thousands of miles.
You got it. Often involving chemicals, long-term refrigeration, multiple stops. It all adds up environmentally.
So what's the alternative according to the manifesto?
The solution is pretty straightforward, though it takes effort. Actively look for and buy local produce.
Stuff grown nearby.
Yeah. Farmers markets, farm shops, even supermarket sections that highlight local suppliers.
Yeah.
It slashes your food miles. The food's often way fresher because it hasn't traveled far, and you're supporting your local economy.
Plus, you end up eating more seasonally, I guess, which is probably healthier anyway.
Often, yeah. It connects you more to the actual rhythm of food production.
Okay, so we're planned, we've saved money on basics, we're cutting down waste. Now, Rule 5 seems to take us deeper into the sort of ethical side of things, making our shopping a statement.
Exactly. This is where your shopping becomes a kind of vote, as you said. Rule number 5, read the story, not just the label. The goal here is double. Protect your own health and support fair practices globally.
We all see those words on packaging, don't we? Natural, artisan, wholesome. They sound nice, but what do they actually mean?
Often, not much. This rule says, stop being swayed by the marketing fluff. Learn to scrutinize the ingredients list.
Like actually read that tiny print.
Yes. The rule of thumb they suggest is, if you can't pronounce half the ingredients, or if it reads like a chemistry experiment, maybe put it back on the shelf.
Avoid the science projects.
Basically, yeah.
Right.
Look out for things like high fructose corn syrup, hydrogenated oils, stuff that makes food last forever on the shelf but isn't necessarily great for you. A good ingredients list is usually short and understandable.
Okay, but hang on. Let's connect this back. Earlier, with Rule 2, we were saving money buying generic brands. Now, Rule 5 talks about ethics. If I'm buying, say, coffee or chocolate, the ethical choice often means looking for labels like fair trade, right?
That's a really important point, yes.
But fair trade products usually cost more, don't they? Doesn't that contradict the saving money goal?
It seems like a contradiction, but the manifesto addresses this tension directly. It's a great question. The argument is that the money you save from Rule 1, by not wasting food, and Rule 2, by buying generic staples.
The 30–40% savings.
Exactly. That saving isn't just meant to sit in your bank account. It's meant to be consciously reallocated. It gives you the financial power to make ethical choices where they matter most.
Ah, I see. So the savings enable the ethical spending.
Precisely. So when you buy that fair trade coffee, yes, it might cost a bit more than the cheapest option, but that label is a guarantee. It means the farmers, often in developing countries, got a fair, stable price for their beans. It protects them from, wild market swings.
So it redefines what a good deal is. It's not just cheap for me, it's fair for everyone involved.
That's the shift in thinking, yeah. A truly good deal.
Okay, that makes sense. So those are the 5 rules. If someone actually commits to this for, say, 30 days, the meal prepping, checking shelves, bulk bins, local stuff, reading labels, what happens? What results did the sources find?
Well, the results they reported are actually pretty staggering. Really worth pausing on. On average, the people who followed this manifesto for a month cut their grocery bill by 25%.
25%, that's huge.
It is. And maybe even more impressively on the environmental side, they reduced their total household waste, so that's trash and recycling, by nearly 80%.
80% less waste. Seriously. Was that like The absolute best case, or was that typical?
The sources suggest it was pretty achievable for people who really engage with the whole system. Because you're tackling the two biggest sources of waste simultaneously. Buying too much food in the first place, and all the packaging that comes with processed or non-bulk items.
Wow. Okay, those numbers are compelling. But what about the feel-good factor, the intangible stuff?
Ah, yeah. And that's maybe the most important part for making it stick long term. People reported a massive drop in stress around food and shopping. That background guilt, mostly gone. And this feeling of shifting from just being pushed around by marketing or habit to being an active participant, making conscious choices. That sense of purpose, that seemed really powerful, perhaps even more valuable than the cash savings for some.
I can believe that. It's transforming a chore into something meaningful.
Exactly. So for you listening, the advice is don't feel you have to do it all at once. Start small, maybe this week. Just focus on rule 1. Really nail the meal prep for the next 7 days.
Or just try the Peripheral Vision Challenge next time you're in the supermarket. See what you find on those bottom shelves.
Perfect. Small steps, they add up.
Okay, let's just quickly recap those 5 rules and the key vocabulary we've unpacked. It's a powerful sequence.
Right. We started with planning, using meal prepping to tackle food waste.
Then we played the supermarket game, finding cheaper store brand or generic options by looking beyond eye level.
We connected savings to purpose, joining the zero waste movement with bulk bins and reusable containers.
We thought about geography, understanding food miles, and cutting our carbon footprint by choosing local produce.
And finally, we became investigators, learning to scrutinize the ingredients list and looking for ethical guarantees like fair trade.
That really is a full toolkit for shopping with intention, which brings us back to those results you mentioned, the money saved, the waste reduced, but also that reduction in stress and guilt.
Yeah. And that leads to the final thought we wanted to leave you with. Thinking about what makes these habits stick. If this mindful approach gives you both things, serious financial savings, like 25% off your bill, and a significant positive impact, like 80% less waste, what's ultimately going to keep you doing it? Is it the personal gain, the money in your pocket? Or is it the feeling of doing good, of being a responsible environmental citizen?
Which motivation wins out in the long run? Personal benefit or global impact? That's a really interesting question to ponder.
Something to think about as you maybe start your own mindful shopping journey.
Definitely. Remember, every small conscious choice really does make a difference.